y es por eso que han perfeccionado este tipo de programa para que a los clones, o sea, cuando matan al original, entonces ya nada más transfieren el alma al clon y el alma tiene unas memorias, las que ellos escogen que tenga el alma, y otras memorias pues no las ponen en el clon.
Nosotros hicimos una entrevista hace unos meses atrás a Ted y a Stuart, y nosotros, que tenemos muchos años de investigación del fenómeno de las adopciones, tenemos una información nueva y para mí es una revelación, no sé si esto ya lo sabían antes, pero al menos de mi parte no lo sabía, en donde Ted dice que su cuerpo es un clon y que han matado al cuerpo original y que el alma había estado dentro de su cuerpo. Hay un segundo caso en Estados Unidos que se llama Linda Porter, donde ella también describe en una ocasión que ve en hipnosis cómo matan a una persona, a un ser humano, lo matan el cuerpo y esa alma va a otro cuerpo nuevo y le borran la memoria del alma.
Linda told me that in 1963, when she was 17 years old, she was abducted from her Covina, California home by gray-colored beings with large eyes. Linda Porter was shown a procedure to transfer the soul or life force from a dying man into a healthy, younger clone of a man. Linda could see in one of the cloning resurrection tubes. The gray being told Linda telepathically that the same soul transfer would be done with her. That gray being explained telepathically to Linda that she had rheumatic fever as a teenager that damaged her heart. The gray non-human said it was vital that Linda Porter's soul entity continue in the same genetic body container that she had been born with in order to accomplish an unknown alien agenda. Linda watched a golden yellow-orange light rise out of the top of the dead man's spine and elongate in the air as it moved across the room to a row of body-sized tubes lighted from the top and from the bottom and filled with a strange purple-looking gas. Inside the tubes, on the far right, was a clone body of the same man, but about 10 years younger. Linda Porter said there was a problem about Earth body containers, souls, other dimensions, and altered timelines. Linda said, quote, "I was told that the resurrected cloned man would be relocated elsewhere, maybe Australia, and would continue on with his life," close quote. Linda thought that it was vital to the non-human entities that the man's soul continue functioning longer inside the same kind of container that his older, sick body had been. Linda thought that one of the reasons that the non-humans take tissue samples from abductees when they are as young as 4 years old is to have this tissue in reserve in case a new body for the abductee to keep going in human life becomes necessary later on. Linda explained, quote, "New bodies can be stored indefinitely. The containers in the sketch with the 3 people in the tubes are storage containers. The containers in both new sketches I sent you are activation containers. They have a light in the top that must be on the person for unknown amount of hours before a body can be activated, if a body has been in storage. If the body is newly made, it does not need light. In the sketch with the 3 people in the tubes, the body on the far right was the younger one given to the dying man." Linda Porter said there is much, much more to existence than we could ever begin to understand. Much of what we have been taught regarding the physical universe and the laws that govern it is wrong. The Eben, doing the soul transfer from her diseased body to her new clone body in one of the lighted tubes, gave Linda Porter an overview of how the cosmos is constructed from the Eben's point of view.
Ok, y creo que hay un tercer caso que está acá en Argentina.
There's a third case in Argentina.
Un cómico de la farándula argentina llamado Carlos Perciavale, en el año 94, en un reportaje de un canal de acá, de Argentina, habla de que le iban a cambiar el alma y que se iba a morir y que le iban a cambiar el cuerpo.
Tuve un sueño que hablaba con un extraterrestre y me decía que estaba llevando un mal camino, porque en ese momento hace muchos años yo había empezado a tomar cocaína y entonces no estaba cumpliendo la misión para la cual me habían enviado a la Tierra, que era la de unir a la gente haciéndola reír y que ellos no tenían tiempo de esperar a que yo naciera de nuevo. Así que me iban a mandar un cambio, me iban a cambiar el alma. Pero ustedes no me pueden mandar un cambio así. Porque yo soy famosísimo, todo el mundo me conoce y se van a dar cuenta si no soy yo. Entonces ellos me decían, vas a ser tan igual que ni vos. Te vas a dar cuenta. Bueno, hagan lo que quieran. Tengo el accidente con el auto, cae encima de mí y entonces la primera noticia fue que yo había muerto. Las primeras noticias eran espantosas, pero Sergio Gómez, el iluminador del teatro que tenía contacto con ellos, había llamado a mi hermana y le dijo: Graciela, te quiero avisar que esta noche tu hermano va a tener un accidente espantoso y lo van a dar por muerto, pero no se va a morir, es una advertencia que le están mandando los muchachos. Porque está llevando una vida equivocada, no está cumpliendo con su misión. Entonces mi hermana dijo: Bueno, muchas gracias por la información. Cuando vio las noticias, murió el actor, ella sabía que no estaba muerto. Entonces en el accidente, yo caí justo en una cuneta que tenía la forma exacta de mi cuerpo, y en esa profundidad, quedé con la cara destrozada por el pedregullo. No me rompí nada. Pero fue gravísimo el accidente. Después me hicieron quedar un tiempo en el hospital porque tenía coágulos de sangre dando vueltas por la cabeza y me dijo el doctor, a lo mejor se puede depositar en un lugar equivocado del cerebro, tenía un importante accidente cerebrovascular. Pero a los 10 días no tenía más nada, y yo le preguntaba al médico, pero yo quiero acordarme cómo fue el accidente, y él me decía, ya con el tiempo te vas a acordar, pero hasta hoy en día, yo no me acuerdo de nada y han pasado muchos años y nunca me volvió a la memoria. Así que yo me pregunto muchas veces, ¿seré yo o seré otra persona?
Y bueno, de lo que habíamos investigado, pensamos que no era viable esta situación.
They investigated and they thought that it was not possible.
Ok. Y consultando a un allegada de Corrado Malanga, que es un investigador del fenómeno de las adopciones y mucho más, preguntamos si era factible de que un alma humana pueda estar en un cuerpo clonado permanentemente. Y me dijo que a menos que maten el original, pueden permanecer. Y para mí fue una revelación que dijo Ted.
Well, can I explain something? I think it's important we stop here and look at the process of what's taking place and the reason why. Okay? This cloning procedure is primarily done for the harvest. This is the way they make their harvest without being detected. Okay? All right. In order for them to make the harvest on humanity and not go detected in what they're doing to keep the human population in the dark, they have the cloning procedure. They want humans that are like cattle that's been grazing in the pastures, and they have absorbed all these vitamins and minerals that they want. Plus, it's a complex program. we have to fully understand the human aura also is, which is our energy field, our emotions created by our soul emit into this auric structure, and they not only harvest our bodies for meat, but they want the energy they siphon out. So it's a complex program. They have learned over many years that as long as humans do not know what's truly happening to them, they're happier and they create more of various types of energy and they don't revolt. You take a pasture full of cattle and they know they suddenly they all are intelligent and they know they're heading to the slaughterhouse, they're going to revolt. So they have designed this complex program to fool us, and that's the cloning. That they replace us with a clone, and in doing so, they have perfected a program to transfer the same soul from the original body into the clone body and carry memories with that. Okay?
Stuart, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Ted, since we're on the cloning, what is the symptoms afterwards you've been cloned?
It was there are three times I distinctly remember being cloned in my lifetime. The first time, of course, was in Masquerade of Angels when I was a child out in the fields at my grandmother's farm. Okay.
Let me translate that.
After that event, I was very sick. I was low energy. Didn't want to eat anything. I started getting childhood diseases. I had been inoculated for measles and mumps and all those things, and I started having those diseases again because this new clone body had not been vaccinated. The doctors were shocked that I had these diseases when I had been inoculated. Plus, my mother at night, I would scream out that I'm burning inside, and she would bathe me in alcohol, trying to contain this burning feeling that I was screaming with. Keep in mind, I was only 8 years old. Okay. Also, my personality changed after that 8 year old. Okay. And I wasn't like the same child. Instead of being very energetic and doing fun things, I wanted to stay inside. Sometimes my mother would find me where I'd crawled up under the bed and was like hiding, and I didn't know why I was hiding. Uh, I my mother also detected that there was something different about me, and she showed that difference for the rest of my life. Uh, she was, it's in a way, even though she was loving and caring, it's like she didn't really want to hug me or anything anymore like she did prior to this. So it affected the whole family. Okay, the next cloning was, which is also in the book, Master Brain, was when I was taken through the walls of our house out onto a school program, a playground, and there was a cloning there in which the young girl Jill was involved, in which they set up an additional program in addition to the cloning. They set up the love bite. So when cloning procedures happened, I learned from this, they also interject other programs that they can harvest also. So they created a situation where I would manufacture a lot of very painful negative energy from that experience with Jill. And so it was very emotional. Also, I was quite sick after that. Was taken to the doctor several times. They could not find anything in particular wrong with me other than the doctor said that it was an emotional thing, and they had no idea why I had moved into such a deep state of depression, and why I just felt withdrawn and wanted to just hide out from society.
Okay, Ted.
Okay. The next time, I'm going to say I suspect a cloning, but Barbara Barthlick and I doing the regression, the hypnotic regression work, we never got to continue working on this particular aspect of that, but it was with the female ET named Maya.
Okay.
Because Maya, we did discover that Maya took me into a mountain of an underground base, and I suspect that I was cloned again, but we were not certain.
Okay. Dice que sospecha que la tercera fue cuando lo clonaron, cuando introdujeron a un extraterrestre que se llama Maya. Y Maya lo llevó a una base intraterrena. Y ahí es donde no están seguros si ahí ocurrió la tercera clonación. Okay, Ted?
Okay. The next time I'm certain about was years later. I was in my 30s. I'm living in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's also in the book when I'm contacted with this ET named Volmo. That's spelled Volmo.
David.
Volmo.
Wow.
And Volmo came through the walls of my house, filled my room with a fog so dense that I couldn't see anything but a little light on like a fingertip or a pencil, and which knocked me unconscious. But Barbara and I uncovered that I was raped and cloned during this procedure. Okay.
Yeah. So
Now, the after effects of that, excuse me, short, just 1 second, or I'll lose it. The after effects of that with Volmo, I ended up 3 months in a psychiatric ward in a hospital because I totally emotionally fell apart. I could not function for a while.
yeah. So symptoms wise, you've got low energy, depression, poor immune system. But you can take any case going back, any famous case. Okay. Recently, I was looking at Travis Walton. He's the tree logger who went missing for 5 days in 1975. He was only consciously awake for 30 minutes. It's a case that you want to translate, and I'll go on.
Sí, tengo 2 preguntas.
Dos.
Y más que nada, preguntas como para reflexionar entre todos.
Uh-huh.
Me da la sensación que los clones que tienen y las clonaciones sucesivas parecieran no tener la misma protección, ¿sí?, que el cuerpo original, que tiene vacunas, que tiene la protección a todo lo bacteriológico y a todo lo que soporta el ser humano en el crecimiento. El clon pareciera que no podría llegar a tener el nivel de antígenos que lo pueda proteger, por eso tiene esa recurrente necesidad o posibilidad de enfermar, ¿sí?, que es todo lo que nos está más o menos relatando Ted. Si eso lo pudo corroborar con algún médico que no tenga antígenos, por ejemplo, de vacunas originales, ¿sí?, contra la hepatitis, como se vacuna cualquier chico en el mundo. Una pregunta es esa. Y la otra pregunta, para que reflexionemos, es que evidentemente el clon no genera la misma energía que necesitan estas entidades, ¿sí?, para subsistir, porque si no toda la población estaría clonada completa. Necesitan cuerpos originales que quizás generan ese tipo de energía.
Pienso que somos como las baterías Energizers, ya ven que tenemos las baterías Energizers y tenemos las baterías que se pueden cargar de nuevo. Entonces es más o menos así. So what he's saying that the clones don't create the same energy as original human being. It seems like they have to be recycled. They don't last as long as a battery, like a regular battery, where it has to be recharged. But this one has to be replaced. The clones. So
Well, I've been somewhat sickly most of my life. I've never been what you would call an extremely healthy individual since that childhood experience. However, after a cloning, you do start rebuilding and you get stronger and better mentally and physically. I can't say that we don't do that, but I don't know that we ever totally recover what we lost.
No sé si el alma, esto ya lo estoy diciendo yo, no sé si el alma ya está como creando conciencia y sabiendo que es un clon a lo que va lo que va a ser introducido. No, como que el alma ya está tomando conciencia y dice, bueno, este es un clon nuevo, entonces tengo que actuar o tengo que reproducir todo lo que estaba reproducido ya en el clon. ¿Me entienden?
Perfecto, perfecto.
Sí. A ver.
I would like to contribute something a little off here, but I think it's important. When you go back to the cloning procedure, some of the individuals have had what they would call implants, and these implants have fed all the information that you experience in your thoughts and everything, your total memory, it can be recorded into these banks, these computer banks into the computer on these ships. And then when they do the cloning, then the new clone's brain needs these memories to reactivate. So they have a program where they put these specially designed headphones on the clone's head. And I've spoken with a few people that remember having these strange looking headphones placed on their head, but that's where they reprogram that memory back into the clone that's been recorded and kept in these computers. Also, it's really important to note here that sometimes, which is another one of their programs, sometimes they will take just a little small amount of somebody's memory that may have lived 500 years earlier and mix it in there so that this new clone will swear up and down that it is the reincarnation of this person, and that is totally false.
Like past lives kind of thing.
Yes, right. Past lives. That's how they do that.
Okay. All right.
And reincarnation is one of their false illusionary programs they have installed into humanity, just like all kinds of religion is programs that's been installed into humanity to keep people flowing in a different direction and not paying attention to what the aliens are doing. And so that's how the reincarnation program works. They do that, it's part of like metaphysics. And look at the people that are deep into reincarnation. And, I was shown how they do it. And it's totally a false program. There's nothing real about it.
Okay.
I don't remember any other clonings that I'm certain about. Those 3, possibly 4 with Maya, are those I'm sure about, but I'm not sure about others there were some events that happened as when I'm working, you know, and when Carla got involved in my life, and I'm living in this mobile home park in Shreveport, Louisiana, and me and my neighbors are all taken. And there may have been some cloning at that time, but Barbara and I were never able to get my mind to release that information. I would get too emotionally upset and start crying when we would try to look at that event.
I think the point though I was trying to make with the Travis Walton, just going back to it, this whole cloning thing is so widespread. It's everywhere. If you go back and look at those old cases, you will see that there's evidence of cloning in there. With Travis, it was, do you remember he woke up on the table and he
Yeah.
tried to push one of the beings, but he had no energy. But the being still fell over. Like, that to me is evidence that he's after waking up in his new body.
Sí. Do you think they cloned him?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay.
I
Sí,
think
él
they,
piensa que sí lo clonaron. Obviamente que sí, porque lo regresaron.
yeah,
Yeah.
because low energy, when he came back, he was, I think he turned to alcohol and his marriage ended up falling apart. So depression. Now, if you were to ask Travis, he wouldn't agree with that assessment at all.
Well, you could also look at it, you know, if his marriage is falling apart, his wife may have looked at him like my mother looked at me. She saw the same person, but she knew it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Also, I would, since we're talking about reincarnation and programs that these aliens have implemented into our society, speaking of metaphysics, I'm going to say something about psychic work. As all of you know who may have read my story, I used to do a tremendous amount of psychic work for many years, and I had quite a following of people actually from all around the country. And as one lady wrote in the newspaper in Louisiana, you know that I, I was an outstanding, unbelievable human being. But then when I started doing regression work with Barbara, I saw how it worked, and this explains why I totally turned against it. Because I saw, as I was sitting there doing a psychic reading for someone, I saw that these demons or aliens, whatever you want to call them, standing behind me, feeding through the implants in my brain these things about that person.
Okay.
And so it wasn't really coming from me. It was a program they had installed in me to make me look amazing. And it worked for many years.
Ahí Ted dijo algo muy interesante. Él relaciona a los contactados con el hecho de que puedan ser clones.
Sí. Sí, ahorita le pregunto. So, Ted, I have a question. Why do you think they give you or other people information about that person? Is it a program where they want that person, the one that's having a reading, do they want that person to go a certain path, or why is it that they're giving you information about that person, or to tell that person to follow a path that they want?
The closest answer I can give you to that is this. Most metaphysical programs direct you into a universal consciousness, not the God we worship and Jesus.
Okay.
They put no emphasis into Jesus. As a matter of fact, when you start bringing up Jesus to these aliens, they usually get quite crazy.
Okay.
It doesn't chase them away forever, but it might send them out of the room temporarily.
Aunque es una pregunta sobre el tema de la reencarnación. Él habló de la reencarnación. ¿por qué los alienígenas tienen tanto énfasis en meternos reencarnaciones, en clonarnos, en abducirnos, en hacernos tratamientos de programas? Evidentemente somos una energía, el hombre es muy importante para ellos. Control de la humanidad, se ve que nosotros debemos ser muy importantes porque ellos se esmeran tanto en hacernos cosas que evidentemente somos un potencial importante.
Several people, abductees, that I have personally worked with have been shown cloned bodies aboard craft or in facilities. And we'll talk a little bit more about the details of these in a moment. Just for purposes of the deception and the lying capability, I will use this little story. Pat, who's one of the cases in my book, was shown a copy of her body that was in storage with a number of other human bodies. She was told it was for the resurrection. And if you know your Bibles, you know when the resurrection comes, we will all get new bodies. Pat was raised in a very simple Christian fundamentalist background. The aliens, throughout their encounters with Pat and her family, had used the religious symbolism to bond with the family and to instill confidence in them. They'd even had Jesus beam into the room at one point when the Greys were abducting the grandmother and say, "It's okay, they're with me." Pat was told that this body, this cloned copy, would be her new body for the resurrection, and this was extremely moving and religious for this woman. However, another woman, also reported on in the book, was shown a copy of her new body in an entirely different scenario, of course, and was told, in fact, if she didn't cooperate with the agenda the aliens had picked out for her, she could be replaced with that body and nobody'd ever notice the difference. And in a third case, we actually had that occur on a temporary basis. A woman was abducted on her way to work and shown on a viewing screen her clone going to work in her place, and nobody knew the difference. So, are these bodies for the resurrection, blessed by God Himself, or are they threatened potential replacements?
Es un tema que es bastante recurrente en los contactos, que curan enfermedades, e incluso esta persona, la madre, cambió su personalidad totalmente, como venimos conversando, y se convirtió en otra persona muy admirada, muy querida, digamos que cambió. En la televisión hay gente que dice que ha sido curada y lógicamente van a venerar a estos seres. Que ellos también tienen un departamento de marketing. Tienen la posibilidad de curar un cáncer, de colocar un cáncer, pero nunca te dan la solución a ese cáncer.
Well, they've interjected all kinds of social programs into society worldwide. I don't know about deities from, say, India or Asia, or how, in comparison to Jesus. I can't make an honest comparison. I don't know anything about those religions. So maybe their deity may work just as well as Jesus. I can't say it doesn't. But all I know is what we have in the Protestant world, in the Catholic world, the Christian world. I only know about that. But all kinds of programs, metaphysics primarily does not pull you in to a Christian setting. If it does, as I was growing up and learned about metaphysics, metaphysics focused on reincarnation, it focused on channeling, talking to spirits, a Ouija board, tarot cards, all these things, but they didn't teach anything about Jesus. And they want to pull as many away from Jesus, it seems to me, as they possibly can, because from what we have studied and learned, that to them that's public enemy number one. Their behavior at least indicates that.
Yo quería aportar una cosita de lo que se hablaba recién. Jesús existe en otras religiones que no tienen nada que ver con la cristiana. Por ejemplo, en el Islam mismo, Jesús es un profeta que ellos veneran, no lo consideran el Hijo de Dios, no lo consideran Dios tampoco, sino que es un profeta y lo veneran mucho. En el Islam, en el Tao, también lo consideran uno de los 5 maestros máximos, junto con el Buda, Confucio, otro más que no me acuerdo, y Jesús. Eso si querés comentar. Y después quiero hacer una pregunta. Alguien en mi familia escuchaba la televisión, había un famoso boxeador argentino y le preguntaron sobre los ovnis. Un famoso boxeador argentino hablaba de ovnis. Que él ve muchos ovnis en una zona caliente de acá Argentina, por lo menos 100 veces que lo vio o que ve objetos cuando va a ese lugar, fundamentales. Sí, acá en Córdoba, que es una zona caliente, ¿no?
¿En Córdoba?
Sí, sí. También contó este boxeador que la madre tuvo un encuentro con un extraterrestre y que este extraterrestre le curó un cáncer. Es un tema que es bastante recurrente en los contactos, que curen enfermedades, e incluso esta persona, la madre, cambió su personalidad totalmente, como venimos conversando, y se convirtió en otra persona muy admirada, muy querida, digamos que cambió. Hasta acá, más de lo mismo.
So there's a lot. There's a lot of these cases.
Yo le pregunté a mi familiar, en base a esto, ¿vos considerás que los extraterrestres son buenos o son malos? ¿Se entiende la cuestión de la pregunta? En la televisión hay gente que dice que ha sido curada y lógicamente van a venerar a estos seres.
There are angels, according to the Bible, that do heal people. Go ahead, translate that. I'm not saying what cured his mother.
No, this was the person that was on the TV, the boxer.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not saying who cured her of her cancer, but look at it like this, because I've seen this happen. The aliens step in and they cure somebody, and look at the masses of people now that will voluntarily come to them without any resistance. Curing that lady of her cancer brought them it enriched their harvest. It brought their harvest more to them. So it's kind of like the reincarnation thing. I wouldn't trust it, but I would pray for it through Jesus.
Yeah,
I would approach it that way for a cure. I wouldn't be happy that an alien cured me, because they are evil.
Sí, yo traje esta anécdota a propósito, porque justamente es de lo que venimos hablando, ¿no? Sabía que Ted iba a responder eso. Yo le respondí a mi esposa que ellos también tienen un departamento de marketing.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's exactly what they do, yeah.
Yes.
Ellos tienen la posibilidad de curar un cáncer, de colocar un cáncer, pero nunca te dan la solución a ese cáncer.
Yeah. No, and then another solution to curing that cancer is just create a new clone body for her that doesn't have cancer.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Stuart?
Exactly that, what Ted just said, yeah.
Yeah.
They probably took her old body, killed her, and then put her in the new body.
Mataron su cuerpo original y regresaron un clon. Y este clon, ¿qué es lo que va a hacer? Pues bueno, va a decir, bueno, a mí me salvaron y todo esto, bla, 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 y le van a meter un montón de programas, igual a los que los sigan, o sea, ahí va la bolita, ¿no? Lo que es la agenda en estar avisando y publicidad.
Sí, pero la tecnología para curar no te la van a dar. A eso hago hincapié.
Sí, yeah, but the technology, they're not going to give you the technology. They're just going to send the clone and say, hey, I was cured, come, we can cure you.
Yeah, but when we ask for the cure, we'll be told they don't interfere.
No, they won't interfere. Oh no, we have the no interference.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't interfere, but they'll come through the walls of your bedroom and take you out at night.
Yeah, but they won't give you the cure. They won't
interfere.
How to cure. They have the technology, but they won't tell you.
Ok, y la última mía, the last one. ¿Se contactó alguna vez con Shirley MacLaine?
No.
Never.
No, I really never had any interest very much. I respect her as the professional actress that she is. I respect her.
Mm-hmm.
But after I worked with Carla and Barbara, as long as I did, I saw right through the deception she was living under with her metaphysics.
Okay. Dice que nunca la contactó.
I didn't care to get in a battle with her about who's right or who's wrong. That would get nowhere.
Okay.
Yo quería hacer una aclaración nada más, Laura.
Sí.
Me da la sensación que lo que comenta Ted es que estas entidades son bastante más rústicas de lo que creemos nosotros. No es que tienen la cura del cáncer, sino que lo que hacen es matar y clonar.
Mm-hmm.
O sea, eso es lo que él está diciendo. Nosotros creemos que tienen la tecnología, si la tuvieran tampoco nos la van a decir, pero pareciera que son un poco más rústicos de lo que nosotros creemos.
Ok. Además de la posibilidad de curar un cáncer que no lo curan porque si retornan un clon no es que lo curaron, pero ellos tienen en base a la casuística, tienen la posibilidad de curarlo. Yo simplemente traigo a colación un caso muy estudiado que es el de Pachita, que es una curandera mexicana muy estudiada por médicos, entre ellos Jacobo Greenberg, estuvo Freixedo y otra larga lista, que han documentado muy bien cómo esta mujer curaba el cáncer del cuerpo que estaba ahí. O sea, ellos tienen la posibilidad de curarlo y lógicamente, insisto en el tema, son tan benévolos que no nos dan la respuesta de cómo curar. Es cáncer por decir cáncer. Cualquiera de todos los problemas de salud que nos causan tanto sufrimiento, los neurológicos, por ejemplo. Yo creo que ellos tienen la posibilidad.
Always, even in biblical times, in my opinion, now this is my opinion only, but even in biblical times, they did cloning to deceive everyone. Because you take Lazarus that Jesus raised from the dead, well, from what I've read, it was inside this room where God supposedly healed Lazarus, where Jesus could raise him from the dead. But I would say that Lazarus was no more than a clone.
Yeah, just
if you look at that and then look at some of the other things in the Bible, like for instance, the impregnation that God did on Mary. Mm-hmm. Well, they impregnate women all the time, but in that case, it was a miracle. And people wrote about it as immaculate conception, but it's happening today. But we don't recognize it in the same way. So a lot of these biblical events that happened are explainable through this, through the aliens and the way that they operate and the way that they work, which draws God and his angels into the arena with the bad ones.
Yeah.
And I've
And
said that all along. They are cooperative. It's a program that they operate together. And I said once, and I've offended some biblical people, one in particular that Stuart and I love very much. But I quoted that the Gnostics made a statement that where repeated that Jesus said that sometimes good angels and bad angels work together to accomplish a mission. And I don't mean to offend anyone by that, but it's worth considering.
¿Hay algo más?
Quiero hacer una pregunta a Ted, donde este investigador Corrado Malanga dice que cuando desactivan ojivas nucleares, cuando curan tumores y cuando desenroscan cordón umbilicales de los bebés de los cuellos, en realidad lo que están haciendo los aliens es cuidar el gallinero. ¿Qué piensa de esto?
Their territory.
Yes.
Protecting their harvest.
Protecting their harvest, protecting their cow, their harvest. Yeah.
Most likely that woman who had cancer, though, it's not that they took her to cure cancer by putting her in their cloned body. It's just they were harvesting her, and then they had this idea, hey, let's cure her of cancer as well and send her back.
Well, let's pretend we're gonna cure her of cancer and let's send her back. Anyways, we're gonna do the harvest anyways.
Yeah.
Lo que está diciendo Stuart es de que a esa persona que se llevaron, que la curaron de cáncer, estaban haciendo la cosecha de todos modos y se la llevaron. Y dijeron, bueno, vamos a cosecharla de todos modos y para que se vea que, oh, bueno, somos buenos, somos los buenísimos. Y bueno, la regresamos en un clon. ¿Qué le iban a hacer?
The point of the when you go back looking at all these old cases, though, it's that there's cloning in all of them. The whole purpose of the alien agenda is the cloning. It's not like it's just a rare case that happens here and there. It's literally everyone who's involved in it.
When I was on the mothership at 8 years old, I saw rows and rows and rows of vats with fetuses in there that were producing constantly cloning into the thousands it's operated worldwide.
But what was
big business? Big business.
Rows of what? With the
vats or tubs.
Or
tubs,
containers.
Vats, containers holding, and they had the partes de la vaca.
Partes de la vaca. Okay.
Y sangre de la vaca.
Y fetuses. Human fetuses?
Yeah. Fetuses.
Dice que él vio cuando estaba en la nave, dice que él vio líneas y líneas y líneas de contenedores que traían los fetus, traían partes de las vacas, traían sangre y partes de las vacas. O sea que es muy seguro de la agenda de ellos, es la clonación, es el negocio de la clonación. Porque también acuérdense que nos llevan a otros planetas, nos venden a otros planetas, está el tráfico humano, está todo esto. O sea, es clonación, es la agenda.
Carla Turner decía en su investigación que cuando se producía mutilación de ganado, el producto de la mutilación lo utilizaban para fabricar clones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. I saw it.
Yeah. Dice que él lo miró. Sí, Luciano, ¿quieres decir algo?
No, yo quería decir algo, que los síntomas que sienten las personas que eventualmente fueron clonadas son síntomas muy comunes hoy en día, como puede ser la depresión, el desgano. Generalmente viene de la mano una depresión en el sistema inmunológico. Es muy común. No quisiera que la gente empiece a pensar al escuchar esto que todo el mundo fue clonado.
Sí.
No, me parece que no necesariamente. Yo creo que convendría hacer esa aclaración. A ver qué opina Ted. Porque si no, vamos a generar una histeria, como es una locura generalizada.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
depression and stuff like that. Yeah,
Right.
it could be something else. It could be a genuine sickness, a genuine being with no energy, and it's just that your body is sick. It doesn't mean that you've been cloned. So
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because they will take, say, a teenager, for example, and they don't do a cloning, but they show this teenager like fetuses being eaten by the mantids, or they show this teenager some absolutely horrible situations, but they don't clone it. But then subconsciously, this teenager is depressed, becomes suicidal, all kinds of things which are side effects from an abduction. So the cloning doesn't always have to be the reason that someone is depressed or whatever, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. La posibilidad de que sí existen clones, sí existen las abducciones, pero también hay que poner los pies en la tierra y decir, no todo es clones, no todo es abducción. No, hay cosas que sí, pero hay también, es 50 y 50, 50-50, ¿no? Tenemos que también pensar que hay otras posibilidades, que no solamente todo es alienígena y todo es abducción y todo es clonación, no, también hay otras posibilidades.
Totally different, totally isolated from each other. It happened to both come from the St. Louis area, both shown at the age of 5. A gigantic metallic spherical object somewhere in space, and we're told in essence it was the Seoul Recycling Center. Reports of abductees who recall apparent past lives in which they've inhabited alien bodies with their souls. And even in one case, a man who watched as his young body was killed and his soul energy released, captured in a container, and taken to a new replacement body where it was reintroduced into the body through the technology of the little black box you might have heard about in some of these cases, are being forced to eat or drink unknown substances that then produce a variety of after effects on the abductees. Angie reported on intake and was given a bitter red liquid to drink, passed out immediately, and came to in a very passive, hypnotic state in which she then went through an interrogation with a number of people. Ted Rice, another case that I've been working on for a couple of years, as a child was given a pill to eat or swallow that then produced on the 10-year-old boy the effects of an aphrodisiac.
Quiero hacer una pregunta a Ted con respecto a Jesús. Hay una parte de la Biblia que dice, Jesús, yo no vengo a luchar contra carne y sangre, sino vengo a luchar con las huestes que están en la oscuridad. Se relaciona a esto, ¿no?
Well, can I interject something?
Yes.
Okay. An example of this, the demons have, for hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe thousands, have set up dissension and disharmony between the Jewish population and the Palestinian or Arab world, okay? Or the Muslim world. And look at what's going on over there now. What would happen if Israel and Palestine suddenly realize what we all here today know, that they have been set up on purpose to kill each other and hate each other because it creates a tremendous harvest for this forest. Maybe they might do like Jesus said and start love thy neighbor, because if you do, you're not producing the rewards the aliens want. And Jesus knew that.
Amen a sus vecinos, amen al prójimo. Eso es lo que debemos de hacer, porque ¿qué es lo que estamos creando? Estamos creando un montón de energía para ellos y se están matando entre ellos mismos, que no hay razón. Si supieran lo que sabemos nosotros, es lo que está diciendo Ted, lo que sabemos nosotros, lo que estamos descubriendo nosotros, que si toman ellos conciencia, entonces no estuvieran matándose entre ellos mismos. Y no les estarían dando esas energías a estos seres. Y eso es lo que decía Jesús, que nos amemos al prójimo. Y ya, ahí no les van a dar energías. Obviamente.
Pregunta para Stuart. Stuart es irlandés, ¿no?
Stuart, you're from Ireland?
Yeah.
Ok,
Yeah.
Pregunta. En la comunidad irlandesa, en su país, ¿cómo está el tema de lo que es información sobre ovnis, adopciones, extraterrestres? ¿Cómo lo maneja Irlanda, o sea, el país?
Not very well. It's not really spoken about. It's very rare that I'd meet another person who would be interested in it the way I am. As far as I know, there's not a huge amount of groups out here. It's just people just think it's crazy, like aliens coming here and cloning people. They think it's just crazy.
¿Hay casos en Irlanda de adopciones, de avistamientos de ovnis, de avistamientos de alienígenas como en otros países, por ejemplo en Argentina?
We're a hotspot for sightings. Okay, there was a case that was printed in the newspaper a couple of years ago about a man who was abducted, but he became friends with the ETs and they took him to the North Pole to show him around, and then they brought him back.
Ok, dice que en Irlanda dice que hay muchos avistamientos y que hubo un caso de un señor que se lo llevaron al Polo Norte y luego lo regresaron. What happened there at the North Pole?
They just showed him around. They showed him the icebergs and whatever. Now we all know that this didn't happen. Like, he wasn't really at the North Pole. They probably cloned him.
Yeah.
And that's just a screen memory.
Yeah.
I want to throw out here. Carla and Barbara told me numerous times that when there would be a hot spot somewhere, lots of sightings, that it was a cloning center. Lots of cloning going on. It's a harvest place. And then when they get finished, they'll move on to some other place on the planet.
Clonado, nada más es una memoria de pantalla lo que le están mostrando, que no le están mostrando lo que está detrás de eso, como Carla Turner hizo con Ted, que sí le llevaba a que viera lo que estaba detrás de esa pantalla.
Yeah.
¿Y mutilación de ganado?
Cow mutilations, any animal mutilations?
Not that I know of, but in saying that, now that Ted's just reminded me, there is, if you go back into Irish lore, the Irish people talk about fairies, okay? And
Dice que no de ganado, pero sí hablan de las fairies, de las hadas.
now, around the countryside in Ireland, there is what's called fairy ring forts, which is stone circles. Now, they could be up for hundreds of years or thousands of years, but it's you don't mess with the stone circle. You don't take stones from the stone circle. You leave it alone, and everyone knows this.
Sí, comentarles que en Argentina tenemos casos de mutilación de ganado al por mayor, de mutilación de ganado de todo tipo, incluso de humanos, estudiados por veterinarios e instituciones, porque acá se creía que era cuaterismo, pero al por mayor vienen por oleadas y se roban también el agua de los tanques australianos en ese momento. Comentarles también que han aparecido vacas colgadas en los árboles.
But
Yeah.
Argentina is a big cattle country like the United States.
Yeah, Ted, maybe we should
Como acá en
just,
Estados Unidos.
before we go, Ted, maybe we should just talk about the birthing process that the cows are being used for.
The
Oh,
birthing,
sure.
the birthing process.
Yeah, the feed. Ted, do you want to explain it? They're using what they're
Okay,
using.
nos va a explicar aquí lo de las vacas y el cómo hacen el nacimiento. Ahorita nos va a explicar Ted sobre esto, sobre las vacas y el nacimiento, es lo que están, ¿sí?
Sí, porque veo que Ted está muy al tanto del tema mutilaciones. Acá es un tema muy importante, se habla mucho de eso. Quizás Ted nos podría contar cuestiones particulares de cómo ellos llegan a un lugar, toman el animal, qué es lo que le hacen.
Sí, creo que eso es lo que nos va a explicar ahorita.
Okay, I saw, as I explained earlier, I saw rows and rows and rows of tubs with the end of these tubs was made out of the female part of the cow, the uterus, the complete genetic works of the female cow. And when it was time for these fetuses to be born, the vat would squeeze in and push the fetus through so it would have something, it would experience something similar to being birthed by its a real human mother. And it would have the psychological effects of that. Because if you remember, some people under hypnosis have been taken back to their birthing, and they actually have a little bit of recollection about their birthing. So I think that they do this because they want it to be as natural for the human or the clone as possible. So
Wow.
so nothing would ever be fully detected is what's going on.
Wow.
And just a quick question to Ted. Why do they use the cow uterus and not a female uterus, like a human one?
They take penile tissue. That there are certain tissues on the vaca, the cow, that work better to create these because they can actually, for example, they can split somebody human open and go inside and then actually sew them back up with their technology and don't even leave a scar. So they take this tissue with this type of equipment and they mold it into or sew it into the parts they want to be exactly what will work for this program better for them. Mm-hmm. They take tissue from around the gums of their teeth. They take penile tissue. They take. They don't take, that I'm aware of. They don't take tissue inside, like where the heart is or things like that. It's only certain tissues that are not exposed to sunlight or air.
Dice
Like,
que toman...
gums, what have you, it's basically closed. So that's all I know about that.
La versión que yo tengo es que usan esos tejidos, ¿sí?, para calibrar su tecnología de clonación. Usan una vaca original, la clonan, ven que los tejidos sean iguales, calibran su tecnología y a partir de ahí comienzan a clonar humanos.
Acá en Argentina hay pruebas científicas a través de veterinarios que algunas vacas mutiladas tienen sustancias analgésicas como el oxindol o el benzodiazepina, que eso es de origen humano, es de origen farmacéutico, ¿Qué opina de eso?
Quizá la pregunta terminada sería si creen que acá hay una relación de trabajo en conjunto entre lo humano y lo alienígena.
I think that the aliens have taken over many military bases, as in Dulce, New Mexico, and it's a cloning center. It's a where they have pretended to work cooperatively with the United States government, but when the United States government then tried to step in and set some rules that the aliens didn't like, they had a fight, and the humans lost. Okay. So I know when I lived in Louisiana, I lived close to a major, large Air Force base, and I saw and I talked with people who had firsthand sightings of UFOs going in and out of that base, and I saw it myself. Okay. So they have taken over our military.
Quizás nosotros pensamos que son humanos, pero en realidad no son humanos, son ellos disfrazados de humanos, con toda la tecnología que tienen, y nosotros pensamos que son humanos y en realidad no son. No son. Nosotros decimos, bueno, están trabajando con los humanos. Bueno, ¿quién nos dice a nosotros que no es un clon ese cuerpo que se mira humano, pero tiene el alma, digamos, de los alienígenas también? Igual como lo hacen con nosotros, que meten el alma del humano en un cuerpo humano, quizás también puedan meter el alma de un alienígena. Y le voy a hacer esta pregunta a Ted, si piensa que están metiendo también las almas de los alienígenas en cuerpos humanos. Ted, one last question. Do you think they're putting the aliens' souls, or do the aliens have souls, and they are pretending to be human?
No.
No, they don't have soul.
Not. Absolutely not. They don't have a soul.
They don't have a soul, okay. No tienen alma.
Yeah. I mean, go take a look out in your yard, around your shrubbery or whatever, and find a praying mantis. Mm-hmm. And tell me you think it has a soul.
¿Ustedes qué piensan?
They don't have souls.
No tienen.
But they know how to manipulate ours.
Dice que no tienen almas, pero sí saben manipular las almas de nosotros. So, are they working with us, or we lost and they are living among us?
Okay.
Manipulating, obviously.
Yes, manipulating on a grand scale. I mean, they manipulate this entire planet.
Sí, dice que manipulan todo este planeta. Y sí,
all religions, everything on this planet, they are running from the background.
Yo le quería preguntar si conserva sus habilidades psíquicas, pero no sé si...
Do you still have your psychic abilities?
I don't use it. I use it very, very little because I don't trust it. Sometimes, Laura, I will get an impression, a psychic impression that I will share with somebody. But I evaluate what it is I'm feeling before I say anything. Very, very careful.
Entonces no le pregunto qué impresión tiene de estas charlas, ¿no?
He's saying, so then I won't ask you what impressions do you have about this podcast.
Well, that was what I wanted. I wanted to end with saying something to you without coming. I don't want to feel ridiculous, but it's important that I say this to all of you.
Okay.
We didn't all come together by accident. There's a reason. And Stuart texted me yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, and said, I'm beginning to understand how all of this alien involvement works now. I'm beginning to see through the deceptions. and how people are tricked out of their souls, out of their bodies. I'm understanding how it all beginning to understand how it all works. I congratulated him because he is now online with Carla, Barbara, myself, and a few others on this planet who actually see the truth and what it is. And I feel like, or I'm trying to teach, I'm trying to reach out to all of you men and teach you what I know, because how are we going to ever fight this system if we don't understand it?
Know the enemy.
Go ahead.
I said, know the enemy.
Yes. Yeah, the point I made earlier about Israel and Palestine,
Yes.
look at worldwide all the negative things that go on that create a lot of negative energy that these aliens harvest. Somebody at some point, and I reach out to all of you, we have to take responsibility, all of us, to start helping our fellow humans understand, so that hopefully at some point Vladimir Putin will stop fighting the Ukrainians. Hopefully at some point the Palestine, Hamas, and the Jewish nation will understand how ridiculous their war is. It benefits no one but the aliens. They're being used, they're puppets, and they're creating this fantastic banquet for the aliens. They're fools. And we all sit around and look at them, they're fools. Because and the only reason they're fools is they don't understand, because nobody has explained it to them and got them to see. And people, this is where we are. One little step at a time, we do this. Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Sí.
Gracias, Ted.
Es mi gusto.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, friends.
Gracias.
Gracias a ustedes.
De nada.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, guys.
Sure. Thank you,
Yaro, Pablo, Gustavo.
Thank you so
Gracias.
much, Leo. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I learned to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Yes, Ted?
Hablamos más luego.
Very good.
Okay.
Sí entiende español, ¿eh? Sí habla español, habla muy bien español. Muy bueno. So you need to learn Spanish.
I know.
Yeah. So you can translate.
Bye-bye.
Bueno.
See you guys. See you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bueno,
Ciao.
thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time.